Welcome to the Forward View Masking Accelerator demo, where I'm going to take you through the user story of a data steward working with a privacy steward to ensure that columns marked PII are masked and that those masking details are available in Collibra. Here on our data steward dashboard, we have this central tile showing what we call columns at risk. Now, a column at risk is any column stored in Collibra that is marked as PII, but then doesn't have an associated Delphix masking rule relationship against it. So we can see that the most columns at risk are in this mock edge Pearson domain, so that's where we're going to start. So here we can see a view that has been created in this domain that is specifically filtering out just the columns at risk. As you can see, they are all listed as personally identifiable information. However, there is no Delphix masking rule that would be stored in this column. So what I will do is I will go to one of the assets and I will tag our privacy steward. And I will say something like, please mask and search for other quick wins in the columns at risk. And then I will post this, and our privacy steward will receive a notification within Collibra and also an email with a link to this asset. So once they have received that, you would hope that they would complete that masking job as soon as possible. And once that has been complete, what we can do is we can ingest the metadata around that masking job. That is done here. So we have a workflow that is set up that can be set up to run overnight, but it can also be triggered from the dashboard with just a few clicks. So I'm just selecting the environment I would like to ingest from and going from there. So that is ingesting the masking job from Delphix, and then that can be found in our rule sets domain that is set up as part of the installation of the Forward View Masking Accelerator. So here is the Delphix rule set, and as you can see that this masking job has succeeded. And you can see here that there are 6 Delphix rules within the rule set, and the four have been ingested here. You can see that because 4 don't have a column listed against it. There's 2 that do. That's because a separate workflow has to be run in order to apply the column, which is a key piece of metadata. And the way that is done again is it's another workflow that again could be set up to happen overnight, but if you wanted that information immediately, what you want to do is go to the database asset that those columns are in, and then you can run it from there. So I will open this column just as faster to get to the database. From here, go back to, then I will have to change the view away from columns at risk to all assets in order to get the database. Open the database asset and then run the workflow here. So I will stitch the masking rules to columns. Again, I will select the Delphix environment that I would like to ingest from. As you can see, it's picked up the rule sets that are relevant. I will run the workflow, and that has already been complete. So as I now go back to our rule sets and refresh the page and expand here, you can now see that those columns have been applied. So what this means now is that if we can go back to our view of the columns at risk, go back to that view. And as you can see here now, these columns, they all still have PII, but then the 4 added Delphix masking rules now appear here. Now, in order to now show just the columns that are still at risk, we have a validation script that we will run. That just takes a couple of seconds. And as you can see, we've gone from 10 columns at risk down to 6. And then once we go back to the dashboard, that is shown here. So while we still have a number of columns at risk in this domain, and it is still the domain with the most columns at risk, that number has gone from 10 to 6, which is a reduction. So, just a quick recap. What you have seen here is an example of how the forward view masking accelerator can be used to speed up the data masking discovery process and improve the understanding of masking stakeholders. If you have any questions or would like a live demo, do not hesitate to contact us at Forward View anytime.